What's up, everybody? I am Johnny Christ, and this is Drinks with Johnny. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am joined for the first time in a fucking year by anyone in person, and of course, it's my old friend Darby Allin. How you been, man?
What up, man? I've been lovely. A lot of shit has happened.
Dude, it's been a long year.
A lot of shit.
A lot of shit has happened. Let's fucking get into some of that, though, man. First of all, congratulations, the longest running TNT AEW champion in history. How's that feel, man?
Feels wild, man, because this time last year, I was still kind of scratching the surface of, where I stand in AEW. Fast forward now, main eventing shows, team with Sting. It's a fucking trip.
Yeah, man. Well, you just mentioned one of the things I wanted to get into is teaming up with Sting. Like, when you guys heard that he was going to be signing that contract with AEW, what was it like in the locker room? What was the buzz like? Did you hear it before, or did you guys hear it all at the same time?
Nobody knew except me and a handful of guys.
Right on.
Nobody knew. It was sick to hold on to that little secret. And because I saw Sting for the first time that day leading up to the thing, just to introduce myself, because we'd be working with each other. And first thing he said is like, I love your work. I wouldn't change a thing. And I just kept talking about my promos and everything. And he loves the fact that I run my friends over with cars. He loves it all. So it's cool to have that. He's hyped on me, and that wouldn't change.
Yeah, I mean, he's the fucking icon Sting, as Tony Schiavone says every time. The icon Sting.
He's a beautiful man.
Yeah. How did you grow up watching any of Sting stuff when you were a kid?
See, I remember in passing, but in my brain, that shit was so it's like a fog. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like I can't directly remember that because I must have been around 6 when he was like top man at WCW. So, but you just definitely remember, in passing. So you remember the effects, and then as you got older and I started training and shit, you would see the impact he's had on everything, and then you're like, damn, what a trip this has been, because you would see his earlier stuff when he was teaming with Ultimate Warrior. And then you almost forget that. Yeah. And then fast forward to where he is now, and this is like essentially the tail end of his career, and I'm a big part of playing a story. You know what I mean? It means the world. Yeah,
I think for a lot of us fans of the 90s, like, there was a lot of kinship in the way you paint your face. Like, I've seen you come in to the ring from, like, in a similar fashion. He would come in off the top with his bat, and you'd fly in with your skateboard a couple months ago. So I think there was a lot of mutual respect there now.
Yeah, no, the thing is, like he said it best leading up to it, he would always say, like, it's not just the face paint that makes us similar. It's the attitude, it's the walk, it's the aura, it's everything. And really, it's the truth, A lot of people are like, oh, they're just these fuckers are put together because they have face paint. It goes deeper than that. If you really watch it, and you really watch how we carry yourselves, and then you watch the cinematic match, you couldn't have put a better person in there with Sting than me if he needed a tag team in AEW.
I couldn't agree more. Like that, I mean, this is pretty fresh. Where by the time this releases, it'll be in a couple of months. But let's get into the last pay-per-view, Revolution, man. You touched about it, the cinematic style match. We've seen a couple of those from the WWF or WWE now. Sorry, I'm old school. I forget that they're WWE now. It's you go back to it, and they did their thing with the Undertaker last year with WrestleMania, John Cena, everything like that. And then you guys kind of went into this warehouse and just broke shit. Like, it was very much the Darby that I think everyone loves. I mean, from the slingshot as a kid into the plain glass window, and then of course, probably this. I mean, you've had a few sick coffin drops that I've seen in your career, but that was probably the coolest coffin drop that I saw you do. What would you say
about the whole match?
No, specifically the coffin drop at the end. How many feet was that?
Shit, I don't know.
That was fucking high, dude.
I was feeling it. I felt it, and we shot that specific scene at like 3 a.m. So I was up all night thinking of the match, and then all day I was just like getting hyped. So, cinematic match, you get your adrenaline rushing, and then you come down, take a break, reshoot, adrenaline, come down, take a break. So up there, it's like, all right, let's fucking jump off this, and I'm so used to doing shit like that all the time, but at that rate, I knew mentally that was the last thing I had to do in the match. So if if I wasn't gonna be walking out, I didn't care at that rate. You know, I was ready to lay it all on the line.
And I think that's, you know, a lot of people gravitate towards people like yourself. And when you have a realness to it, like, there's a lot of wrestlers who have the personas and everything like that, but the ones that really work, the ones that tend to really captivate the audience, is when it's just you with the knob turned up to 11, right?
Well, that's the biggest thing to me in my mind is when I'm out there, I feel completely free. I want to act this way 24/7 as I am in the ring, but I'd probably go to fucking jail or people think I'm like just a total fucking whack job. But like the thing is, I feel free, and it's like the same reason when I'm in the backstage, I don't change in the locker room. I literally, I don't want to like say, oh, I changed in the boiler room, but I literally change in the boiler room, and I have it like a boiler room to myself, and it's because my mind is constantly racing, and I feel much productive there. I feel like I can create, you know, because I'm not one to make small talk with people. You know, if you know, I don't like gossip, I don't like bullshit.
Yeah.
And this is essentially my way of living, and I don't want, you know, don't shit where you eat. So I feel so good just sitting in that boiler room and just like to myself and just coming up with art. And, you know, so if it looks like I'm a loner on TV, you talk about life imitating art, it's
Very much that, yeah.
no further than the truth. So.
Yeah, man. Well, it's, you know, it's interesting. You kind of bring up the creativity, and I know from our earlier chats and stuff about your studies in cinematography and going to school for that, and everything you did. That's kind of led up to not only your promos, but let's get back to that cinematic match you guys had at Revolution. Why don't you walk me through a little bit of the behind the scenes of what it really took to you know, really make that a match and make it look good?
I was writing storyboards months before the pay-per-view. Then I drove down to the location where we're filming it, took all these photos, start plotting everything in my brain, sit in that boiler room, just coming up with all this stuff, the shots, like a lot of things. And then we had an awesome crew in Steve Yu, who helped direct it as well, you know, and he does work for DDP. And so we had all these like, but when we were there at the building that day shooting it, I was running around doing everything possible. Like, all right, I want you to shoot it like this. I want you to shoot it like that. Hey, people in the background, like, yada, yada. And then every time we'd get done with the cut, I'd get thrown through a pane of glass, and then right away they'd be like, Darby, what's the next shot? And I'm just like, all right, just like, fucking, yeah, this is where Sting stumbles down the stairs. You know, just like how to set it up and everything. And I was doing everything, and I felt like I was on autopilot in my mind because I was so like hyped on the shoot that, you know, it's like I had this adrenaline where I was like, dude, we could go all night. And I was just like, I was like on fire with it, you know. And the only thing that stopped me was when I had to throw the bat down to Sting.
Okay.
Just because I was like, all right, I'm going to throw this down. And then Tony put it best. Hey, you know how the laws of physics work, right? That bat is going to come down, and we don't know if it's going to break Sting's face. And I was like, it's the first time the whole shoot I actually like, shit, I'm actually starting to think now. And I was like,
damn it, Tony, you took him out of the element.
if I threw this bat down at him, I was like, then I started thinking like, oh, what if I do break Sting's face? He can't finish this match. But then I was like, all right, man, we've got this far. Let's go. And Sting, he's the one.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I'm catching that bat.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything different. You're throwing that bat to me. So here I'm up there. All right, action. Stinger, throw it. And then it's like perfect catch, first try. Bop, bop, beat the fuck out of everybody. And I was like, oh man, I was on cloud 9.
Dude,
it was sick.
I'm so glad to hear you talk about it with such passion. And I mean, that's got to be, I'm glad that you just went in the zone and you just went back to your creativity. And I mean, that's got to be kind of surreal when you're done with it and look back and be like, I was in a match with someone who's spanned decades of wrestling as the icon Sting, and he was just kind of following along. Like, if I'm taking in what you're saying correctly, you're kind of just running the show, and everybody was kind of like following along and going like, this guy's got it. I mean, he's got the vision for this.
Yeah, that's what Sting, he pulled me aside week after the whole video, and he's like, man, I just want to tell you how much it means to me since I've been back, how you've made this whole process so easy and fun. Because I used to go to Sting's house in Texas, and he got a ring there, and we were training, and we would would just sit and just talk storylines. And it was just like, it felt so good to just bounce each other's ideas off one another. And then, you know, like Tony and me, if you look back at it, we've been working on this Team Taz feud for over a year.
Yeah.
So this is a culmination of all of our hard work, and Tony's like, you know, like sticking to the game plan and like playing the story out and having a lot of trust. And it was really nice, like because that's all I told Tony a long time ago. I want to be a storyteller. I'm not one of these guys that come out here and have one-off matches with no backbone to it. Mm-hmm. Every match, to me, I want there to be a story to it, because that's the beauty, you know, of movies, of everything. Like, you either go to the movies and you watch a movie like the Expendables, which is like a crazy like action movie where there's just a bunch of chaos going on, but you don't leave the theater remembering that months later, like in the heart. Then you watch a movie like, you know, I'm going to random example like Good Will Hunting or something along those lines, where it leaves you thinking about it for months and months, and it like hits you here. And that's how I want my wrestling to be. I really want people like, that's why the beauty of selling and everything like that. It's a kind of a lost art, and it's, you know, but I'm trying to show that if you bring the art of selling back, that it's, you know, it can create such a beautiful thing. So, you know, everyone knows my passion, and sometimes I feel like that I gotta like just check myself and not let the passion get the best of me, because sometimes I do get like in my head about things, but it's good. You can't help it, man. I'd rather have people say you're too passionate than not passionate at all. So.
No, and it shows. And I think the passion that shows through is what has made you from, you know, just a year ago when we were talking, you had some bigger matches, but you were definitely like working your way up in the AEW totem pole, as they say. And then to now, you're like one of the biggest stars on the roster. I mean, that's got to feel great that all you've done is just continue to be yourself, and that success has come with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And staying true to myself and all my outside endeavors as well, shining through, you know, whether it's the skateboarding or, like you said, the promos of the filmmaking and everything like that. It's good to stick to and not change who the hell you are, because I remember the first year I started wrestling, I quit skateboarding. I quit. I quit being like essentially a fucking weirdo. And I just thought I had to fit this mold of, you know, how people perceive wrestlers. And then I felt so lost and empty that whole year. It was like, I was so depressed. I was learning and cutting my teeth in wrestling, but there was something missing. And I stepped on the skateboard again, and I remember why, like, you know, I'm where I am in life because of my skateboard. I'm where I am in life because of being a fucking weirdo and just having fun. And then I just made a promise to myself there, I would never change for anybody, no matter how big the company or how, you know, whatever it is. So I came into AEW, it's like, you're gonna take me 100% or don't take me at all. So, and then they gave me the ball, and that's the biggest thing that they did for me, is give me the ball. Because I said in one of the first promos I had here, is that you give me that fucking ball, I'm never giving it back. And I firmly believe that.
That's fantastic, and you found a great company in that, and a great CEO in Tony Khan. I've had several conversations with the man, and you know, he's got a different way of thinking for wrestling, which I think is a breath of fresh air for a lot of us fans. And I love that, going back to your storyline process. I love that there's an arc to the stories again. That was always the thing when I grew up watching wrestling. There was, you know, a 6 month, 8 month, whatever. There was something that had to come to a head. It wasn't, we're just going to throw you in a cage a week later. It was like, you got to build up to that cage. There's no other reason for you guys to fight, but you have to be locked into that cage, and that's the only way. So I bring that up. Speaking of cages, you've been at this Brian Cage guy for a long time now. I mean, we're like you said, it started with the Taz thing, and then Brian Cage came in. Like, where do you think this storyline is going to go? Do you guys already have an idea of where it's going to come to a head at some point?
To be honest, man, it came to the head.
Yeah.
Where do we go after that street fight?
I don't know, man.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
We're done.
That's a good point, yeah.
We're fucking done. I'm gonna fucking jump off and put that guy through the fucking, in the pit.
Yeah.
It's done.
Well, then you just had a match with Scorpio Sky, and you know, who's been a babyface for so long, you know, as the terms go, and then he turns heel at the end there, literally turning your heel in an aspect. So like, what is this the new rivalry, or are you going after the SoCal guys, the Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky and the whole crew?
So I don't think the whole crew is even a crew anymore. I think it's just Daniels and Kazarian.
Yeah.
This guy's just off his own world.
He's off on his own world now.
And it's like, you know, it's interesting to see how people play off because, you know, as for the storylines, like it's wherever the wind takes me. You know, you give me anything and I'll make gold out of it.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Well, you did. Speaking of gold, we got the title right back there.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, how's that transition right there, everybody? So let's get back into some of the cool things that have happened over the last year. I mean, we've already gotten into the wrestling aspect and everything. AEW has made some major signings in addition to Sting. There's been Christian Cage, Paul White recently. As a wrestling fan, I'm watching this, I'm going, oh, this is really reminiscent of when WCW started to really rival the WWE, WWF at the time. Is there talk of that in your guys' locker room? Or are you just like, fuck it, we're just doing what we want to do?
Fuck it, we're just doing what we want to do.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing, man. Like, for me personally, it's not about competition because if you look at the world, the whole entire fucking world of entertainment, the wrestling bubbles are so small. Mm-hmm. You really put it into perspective. And it's just like, in my mind, I don't want to be like these little, like over here fighting when there's like a whole bigger picture out there. So
Great way to look at it.
That's like my thing is like, don't compete against each other, compete against whatever else is on TV.
Yeah.
Whether it be Teen Mom or...
or what was the show? Was it TLC that, what was that?
Sex Send Me to the ER.
Yeah, Sex Send Me to the ER.
I think I got that show.
If you guys don't remember that, go back to last season's episode with Darby and Priscilla. We got into that. That was fucking hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you point that out though, because that is something we talk about in the music industry too. I mean, there's so much entertainment out there. How do you fight for? You're fighting for everybody's eyes, everybody's ears right now, and there's so much out there.
And some people may think like their world is like the biggest thing.
It's the only thing.
Yeah, sometimes it is the only thing in them, and that's why I'm trying to like have this, just reach out and have crossovers. Mm-hmm. Whether it is with guys like Tony Hawk and Steve-O, yourself, musicians like my friend Nolan from Ghostman, I've always been intrigued by the reaching out and doing all aspects of entertainment. I don't want to be the guy who goes is a professional wrestler when he's like 55 at a high school gym, not because he wants to, because he has to, because he doesn't know anything else.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't want to do that. I'm fucking.
Yeah, it's just not you. That's just not who you're going to be and the life you're going to live. I like that.
Yeah.
That's fucking really cool, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of some of that other shit that's been going good, dude, did you get to hang out with Shaq a couple weeks ago? He took a hell of a bump from fucking Cody. That was, and he's a larger than life character.
Shaq,
I'm a huge Lakers fan. He brought me 3 championships. Yeah. I fucking love you, Shaq.
He lives right down the street from me.
Yeah.
In my town in Atlanta, he lives right down the street. I didn't know.
Did you invite him over for a couple of those fire pits you're making over there of cars and shit?
He loves Kentucky, actually.
Everybody loves Kentucky.
He saw a video of Kentucky get hit by a car, and Kentucky walked up backstage. He told Kentucky, "I love your work." Kentucky's like, "My work, yeah." It's a lot of work that goes into standing there and getting fucking ran over.
But Kentucky has such a good spirit about it.
He is a good man.
Let's talk a little bit more about Kentucky. I mean, leading in after Dynamite, there's the Go Big show that Cody's one of the judges on. Snoop Dogg, who's been on Dynamite as well, had a spot. When is Kentucky going to go and compete on Go Big show?
God, what the hell would he do?
Get the fucking shit knocked out of him, dude. He would blow people's minds if he just like live. Like just got thrown around or lit on fire or something. Like, but it would be bad though because he always ends up getting hurt though. So there's like no like it's not like a skill to it. It doesn't seem. It just seems like he just like actually gets hurt. What would you say? I mean, is that accurate?
Yeah. No, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. We've been to the hospital so much since the last time I've been on the show.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of it. I follow you on Instagram, of course.
No, he's always falling off of something. It's a labor of love. There is no money involved.
Well, why don't you choreograph something for him? You know, you can do that for him.
I'm working on it. Yeah,
put him on the big show. I would love to see him on that. Just
like I said last year when I said that movie I'm making.
Yeah.
COVID, changed everything.
Yeah.
And now, like, I definitely want to follow through on it. And, now that time's opening up, and especially after this whole cinematic match, I think it shows to myself that I'm ready
Yeah.
for. You know what I mean? So Kentucky can be in the movie where he goes on a cross-country road trip to kill his ex-wife.
Yeah, well, I mean, originally when we talked last year about it too, it was Priscilla was going to be in the movie too, possibly.
Yeah,
And then there was a rumor going around a little while ago that you guys were on the outs. What can you tell me about this?
It is what it is.
Tight-lipped this one today. Yeah. All right.
I care very much for Priscilla. She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And Gigi Dolin is going to do great things.
Yeah, Gigi Dolin, congrats.
No matter where she goes, she's going to do wonderful things.
Yeah. Shout out to our friend Gigi, who's now on WWE NXT. Congratulations on that. Let's get into a couple of more serious things I do want to ask about. John Huber passed away December 26th of 2020. You guys had the tribute to him and his family, Dynamite. And I was watching that, and I never had the pleasure of meeting John, Brodie Lee. But even that, having lost people, anyone who's lost someone can feel everybody's energy just watching that show. And I mean, the sudden death, the family is there. Can you walk me through a little bit of the emotion of that night? I know you guys had done some pre-recorded stuff, but on that night when you guys are going live, what's the emotional gamut running?
For me personally, in the backstage, it felt like, all right, let's show the world what we can do to pay tribute. And every little thing in that night, whether it was from the start of the show with the 10 bell to the very end with the son, Brodie Lee Jr. in the ring, and then all the packages, it was just like, it felt special. It felt very like, everybody was on the same page. And, sometimes that's kind of tricky with wrestling because there's so much different minds, but everybody was on the same page that night. And it was a wonderful thing to be a part of. And, like Brodie, like I never got to wrestle him, but I mean this. He's the number one guy in that company I wish I could have wrestled. From the first day he walked in there, I told everybody, like I was with Sammy Guevara, and I was like, he walked in, Brodie walked in, and I told Sammy, like, that's the guy I want to wrestle. I cannot,
It would have been a hell of a match, man.
Yeah,
I think you guys would have done something incredible.
And he was such a good-hearted guy, and just to, talk to him in the elevator here and there, and just really pick his brain. And it was nice to have somebody, because there's like, when you meet somebody and they seem like a real good human, and it just like kind of like warms your heart.
Yeah,
that's how it was with him. Like there wasn't any like hidden agenda. There wasn't like no bullshit. He just tell you how he feels, and he's just a good human.
Yeah.
So,
rest in peace. As I said, I didn't know the man, but I from everything that I've heard about him and everything I know that I would have loved to have met him and had a good time with him. So, I don't know how else to transition out of that. To be honest, it's a little
I'll
heavy.
tell you, transition right here. My next championship match is going to be against John Silver, because I wanted to pay tribute to the greatest TNT champion of all time. Mm-hmm. So I said, Dark Order, pick your man. So
that's going to be it.
That's going to be it, and that's.
By the time this airs, that will already have happened. But that's really cool, man.
But yeah, like this is like my way, because I wasn't wrestling on the tribute show. This is my way of being like, hey, like I want to do something special, because everybody was like John Silver, Darby Allin, TNT Championship, Brodie Lee tribute show, like over and over. So now's the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be a special one. So.
Speaking of now's the time, you did mention that you want to get back on to making that movie. Now things are starting to open back up, man. Like everybody, the vaccine is starting to get through to everybody. It's been a year. Things are starting to open back up. Do you have a time frame where you think you might start filming that thing now?
Yeah, it just all depends on my main cameraman, Max Yoder, who films all my promos. I really want to have a tight, small squad when I film this movie, because I feel like in today's like day and age, like you can get a lot done with little amounts of people. So it's just like whenever like this opens up for him, for the most part, so I'm ready, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't, like I said, I don't want this movie to have like a script word for word. I kind of want people to ad-lib and do their own thing, you know, because all the characters in the movie that, you know, nobody in that fucking movie is a trained actor.
Yeah.
I just want them to be themselves. Tell them like kind of what the scene's about, and then they can just run their damn mouths.
You know, it's kind of cool though. I mean, that was always the stories of the difference of a lot of wrestlers. Some wrestlers do a really good job of ad-libbing their promos, while others need like a straight up script. I mean, I know that you do a lot of your own promos and stuff, and they're very different than any other wrestling promos I've ever fucking seen growing up. I mean,
yeah, I just don't like to talk that much.
Yeah.
My goal is like I don't mind talking, but my goal is to let the imagery do the talking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
which is very different. I mean, it's a little reminiscence to like some Undertaker-esque kind of things. He didn't do a lot of talking throughout his career, but then you go back to guys like some of my favorites, like Ric Flair, and it was like all just his mic work was just so above and beyond others. Is that something like right now you feel that you want the imagery to do the work? Do you ever find yourself looking at that part of the art and going like, maybe that's something I want to get into as well, and really just owning the mic?
Yeah, when it's time for the character to evolve, definitely. But you know, I don't want to be having in all these different lanes. I kind of want to just focus on this, and then when the time's for this, you know what I mean? So you know, I just so it shows a lot more backbone to what I can do out there.
A lot of maturity too, and just like it just gets everything out there. It's fucking awesome. Just the last couple of quick things. It's like we talked a lot about wrestling at this point. Let's talk about some fucking music, man. Last time you were here, we didn't get into too much of the music. I mean, you got Darby Allin, Gigi Dolin, the melding of your name and everything like that. So I know you have a lot of punk rock roots. What are some of your favorite albums of all time, and what are you listening to these days, I guess?
Man, I would say a lot of Crass.
Crass, yeah.
Yeah. I love everything that the album Penis Envy, you know, it's an album based off of women's rights and stuff like that, and it was so, I don't know, I remember listening to it for the first time forever ago. You know, at the time you didn't really like put with the words, you know, like meaning to them. You just love the aggression and Eve's voice, you know. So, but now like you know, put it in and you're like, damn, it is cool, you know, with everything in the world, and just like stand up for yourself and changing, you know, what stereotypes are and shit. So I like Crass a lot, you know, and there's so much bands that I'm like currently into. Just a lot of the anarcho punk bands from back in the day. But then there's.
Is there any new artists that you're listening to? I mean, I got a 4-year-old son, man. I'm a few years older than you. My finger's getting further and further away from the pulse. So I'm asking you, like, who do I need to listen to these days?
I don't know. My buddy's band, Ghostman, like they're so like out there and different, and it's like you can't really put a point on like, are they rap, are they rock? Like it's like fucking blender of just wild shit. And that's the band that I, you know, did the body bag, right? My ass crawled in the body bag, zipped me up and threw me off the stage, and I crowd surfed there, and you know, that crowd was livid, like they were ready to rock.
That was a huge moment, man.
Yeah, I just, you know, man, there's just so much stuff like newer punk rock that I, you know, it's not newer, but the shit that I really like is like Leftover Crack, and you know, it's but
I'm not familiar. Yeah. See, this is why I'm asking you.
Yeah,
and I love the name. I mean,
yeah, no, they're
I don't remember ever leaving Crack over. I mean, that's like usually you go through it, but you know.
So that's the thing is like, you know, I'm you know, fucking straight edge. I'm sipping on fucking water right now, but like
don't fake the funk. They don't know what's in the cup.
Yeah. But yeah, so like the things like I'm strange, but like I'm I ain't gonna be like, don't talk to me if you smoke cigarettes or if you smoke weed, or you know, I mean, fucking come on, man. I like lunatics.
Yeah.
Well, they warm my heart. In a second when we fucking play this trivia game, you're gonna meet all the fucking lunatics.
Speaking of the trivia game, though, like you were just film student. You could see it in all your
film student dropout.
Film student dropout. Is it? Was that in? Can we put that in like what was that movie? Grease. Yeah, but film school dropout. We'll do that. Maybe we get Ghostman to do a cover with me. We'll do a film school dropout.
What do you want? Yeah, I ain't gonna.
No, but I mean, we didn't get a chance to really talk about this a year ago.
I'll tell you a quick story about
driving
out of fucking film school. And it goes back to, you know, when I made that commitment to myself, going into AEW, being myself. So I was going to film school, and then there was this project that they wanted me to, like, they're like, all right, you're gonna have a project where you have a day to film on the school campus. So I had this, the night before, I went to a sex shop, and I bought one of those inflatable boobs. Like, it's called boobie dodgeball.
Okay.
It's just like a little gag thing. So I grabbed that, and then the thing is, I tied a string to it so it looked invisible, so it looked like the boob was just like, had a life of its own. So the storyline was, this guy was a janitor at a hospital, and he kept, every month, he kept losing a job. So his roommate said, if you lose one more fucking job, you're out of here. So he's like, all right. First day at the hospital as a janitor, this breast doctor creates a fucking titty. And then the thing gets
breast doctor creates a titty. That's a real quote, people.
And then but the thing is, the titty gets a life of its own and starts like running around the thing. So I was playing the guy who had to hold the job down. So I walked into the bathroom. We smeared it all over the walls in the school with.
What did you smear it with?
With pudding and corn. So it just looked like straight up shit. so it was supposed to be like the boobie like took shits all over the wall.
The boobie took shits.
And then so I walk in there and I'm like the actor, and I walk in there, I'm like, oh man, I ain't gonna fucking clean this. I'm out of here. And then I like closed the door, and then I thought to myself, well, I can't afford to lose another job, man, because I'm gonna get kicked out. So I was like, fuck this, I'm cleaning that mess up. So I walk in there, and all of a sudden it shows the boobie in the toilet, and it jumps out at me, and like I remember like with just someone threw a boobie, like the dodgeball thing in my face, I hit it and bounced out the urinal, and then my head fell in the toilet. And then but I remember the teacher walking in, and then there's this fucking fake shit over the walls. There's a boobie just bouncing. You can't do this. You can't do this. Like she wasn't even mad about the fake shit. She was mad that I had a inflatable boobie.
Oh, shit is okay.
Yeah, and
you have a fake tit.
And then that's the thing. And then I remember
society is fucking weird sometimes.
She's like, you can't be doing this. I'm like, no offense, like. We're over 18 for starters. This isn't fucking high school. And I left Seattle to go to Arizona for film school. So essentially I'd move just for film school. And then this lady's telling me I can't do my art. I'm like, you fucking with my art? I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And then it's a stupid thing to, how dare you not let me do boobie? But
how dare you not let me do boobie? You should have finished that sentence, Darby.
So you ask yourself, is that the hill you want to die on? And I said, yeah, because I just mentally did not.
That was your art, though.
It could be the smallest thing, but when I started feeling like, ugh, and then I remember like the next day, I just went skateboarding. It was about time to go to class, and I just didn't show up, and I never showed up again.
I went back.
And then I said, I'm moving back to Seattle. I'll start wrestling.
What's really funny as I'm hearing that story to me is you were willing to lay down on that art for it, but it's really funny. I couldn't help but think of, I mean, I don't know what year this was, but
2013.
So does anyone know when the South Park episode where they had like the poop that peed episode where they made that book?
I don't have a television at my house. I really don't watch TV. I don't know anything about South Park. Like, I'm sure it's like a fun.
There was like this whole thing where they're like a boob and a dick like was putting out shit, and they were writing books, and it was a satire on it, and it was really funny. It just made me think of that. And then we got this guy rolling into the shot, and then please use that, Brando. Who knows what the fuck's going on here anymore? No, but I love that story, man, for so many ways.
There's just so much. The thing is, I love doing interviews like this because there's so much interviews that I do where they just ask me the basic, like, where'd you train? How, who's your idols? Yada, yada, yada. I like talking about shit that happened in my life.
Yeah.
That, I just like that story, for example, you know what I mean? And like, I'd love to get into me, like just being a terror at the 99-cent store. And then
Why are you stopping there?
Well,
what do you mean a terror at the 99-cent store?
Well, the manager was always so ashamed of me at the 99-cent store. So there was a big thing where the TV crew was coming to do a special on Mother's Day gifts. So the manager's just like, we can't have you on camera here.
Wait, did you work at the 99
Yeah.
cent store? Okay, so I didn't catch that part.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, why is he ashamed of a fucking patron of his fucking store?
I'm just the guy who's just
He's like, this guy can't be here.
So-
He's buying entirely too many products for 99 cents.
So I was, and then there's the news crew there that day, and then the manager was like, we can't have him. He looks like, he's just a delinquent, whatever. So they made me stand in the freezer the whole time that the news crew's there. So I stood in the freezer, but little did those fuckers know I was eating pudding the whole time.
You made up for it with the pudding.
Yeah.
It would have been.
I was like, I'm getting
what
paid,
if
I'm
you
getting
had-
paid $7 an hour, but I'm eating $10 worth of pudding an hour.
All I'm thinking about is Darby Allin back in the freezer eating pudding, and like maybe they forgot you were by there, and like they're filming the guy like walk by, and you're just sitting there going.
It was cold.
It was cold.
And then I remember one of the last days I was there, I was with a forklift, and I was lifting up the big old pallets of water, and I was like putting them but then I accidentally like stabbed into the electricity box, so there's sparks going, and then the water cracked open, there's water falling into the sparks, and I'm like, yeah, now's a good time to split. And my brother's working with me.
How long did you last at this job?
Long time, actually.
Like how long? Well, what's a long time?
It was fucking weird because I moved to Arizona. I never had a job. I tried to get jobs at fucking Arby's. I tried to get jobs at everywhere. No one would hire me.
They had the meats.
I'm like, what am I missing in life? I can't get hired from Arby's. I'm like, I'd go to all these places, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing wrong? And I was just like, it was just such a confusing state to be denied by Arby's. Because
the Burger King, I get it because it's royalty.
Yeah,
but
yes.
Arby's,
Burger King, yeah.
It's a fucking It's a fucking hat that looks like my fucking tequila hat, right?
Yeah, man. But that's it does look like it. But that's the thing, though. And then I got this job at the 99 cent store, and I was like, I'm hanging on to this forever because took forever to get a job. I'm like, I was like, I ain't fucking this one up. So I would just totally work there, and then by the time I knew in the brain that I was moving back to Seattle and I was done with film school in Arizona to start training to be a wrestler, I remember I was just I started not getting careless, or I just started being like, I'm not gonna bend over backwards, because I would do a lot of shit at the 99 cent store. And
Can I
then,
ask a question of
And then I ran over one of my friend's foot with the forklift on one of the last days I was there, and he broke his foot. And he was
Is he still your friend?
No, I haven't talked to him in years.
I wonder why.
That's another story. But the thing is, I remember he was ashamed because the manager he would have thought we were fucking off, and that's why he broke it. I ran over his foot and broke his foot with a forklift. And I remember he was just sitting on the crapper, but he wasn't taking a shit. He was just sitting on the crapper, crying in the bathroom, holding his foot. And then I was like, dude, you got to come out here. The manager's looking for you.
99 cent store.
I was like, the manager's looking for you. You got to come. He's like, it's broke. And then I was just like, dude, you have to tell the manager. She's like, she's gonna know that something's up when you can't stock the vegetables because you're fucking limping around. So.
But wait. You were there long enough. Is there an employee discount at the 99 cent store?
Fuck. Yeah, the 5-finger discount. In the freezer. That's the discount.
That's eating pudding in the freezer.
Fucking in the pudding. Because I was 130 pounds, and I knew I wanted to start wrestling, so I was like, I need to put on weight. And I didn't know anything about fucking diet or working out at the time. Someone's like, you want to be a wrestler? You need to go to the gym. So I go to the gym, 130 pounds, running on that fucking treadmill. Yeah, I'm working out.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you're losing fucking weight, you idiot. So the thing is, I would just be there. I'm like, oh, dude, because I had no money. I would literally I would not eat.
No, I heard about part of this story on the Talk is Jericho, my buddy Chris's podcast when you were on that.
Yep.
A little while back. You were literally at a Foreman grill in the locker at your local gym, right?
No, that was all the years later. This is 4 years later.
Before it was even worse than that?
Yeah, it was worse, way worse than that.
Oh shit, let's go back to that.
I would live off of literally there'd be nights where you get those frozen burritos or you get a carton of ice cream and you'd pick for dinner. And then I would make the tough choice and I'd feel fucking ice cream tonight.
Ice cream tonight?
But the thing is,
how often did you go burrito? How often did you go ice cream?
Shit, man. Probably more times ice cream.
Really?
Yeah. I remember it fondly because there was a Walmart. I would go to the film school, but my dumb ass tried to like beat the system of like getting a job because this is before the 99-cent store. So I would sign up for college and I would have a class at 9 in the morning, but then I'd purposely have another class not until 5 in the afternoon. Cause then I'd like tell them like, you know, like, I can't get a job right now. Like I have school all day, but in reality I had 2 fucking classes. They're so spread out, but I didn't have a car. So I couldn't get, you know, on the Metro bus that fast enough.
Okay.
So, but then I ended up fucking myself over because then I would have to sit at the college all day sleeping on a couch until my next class. And I was just like, damn, I'm a dumbass. I got to get a fucking job next semester. So, but the thing is, I remember I was going to this class. I went to Walmart down the street and I bought the burrito and I was walking there and I was about to eat it. I was so good. And I look over and this homeless dude's taking a shit in the bush and his asshole's facing me. And I'm like, dude, I should have picked ice cream, man. All I think about is that fucking bean shit.
Was it like one of those like bomb burritos too? Like, 'cause, I mean, we struggled in a different way for a long time where you go through truck stops.
No, this was like, I forgot, it was like, it comes in like blue packaging. It was like 12 of them.
Yeah, and it has like kind of like a mystery
meat.
meat.
Like chimichanga one, yeah.
Yeah, mixed with a little bit of like some kind of.
You said mystery meat?
Mystery meat mixed with some beans. Like it's not like it's real meat. It's not like it's even like now it's vegetarian. It's not even that. It's just like this weird slush wrapped.
Yeah, I don't fucking know what it was, but it was at the time it was good, you know.
Oh fuck yeah!
But yeah, so you know, I don't know, man. It's fun to look back on that and shit. I wouldn't change a thing. But.
Yeah, well, it's brought to you where you are, and you've had an incredible career, and there's so much more. You're still so young in the fucking in everything, and it's so cool.
I feel awesome. My body feels awesome. I'm so into recovery, like the DDPY and the you know all the rehab that I like do on my body, and it's like you know I feel beautiful.
Dude, I gotta get into some of that. I see posting. I follow DDP and see all that stuff. I gotta get on that program. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, it's fun. Lots of, you know what I mean. So.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's great to hear you taking care of yourself. I think it's about time to play this trivia game. What do you think?
Fuck yeah, dude. Let's get the weirdos out here. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, well, for now, we're going to say goodbye. And everyone, check out this episode. Go back and listen to the episode before so you have a little backstory to some of the stuff that we were talking about. We're going to do a little trivia with, I think we even have weirder people this time.
Dude, yeah, the antes are upped, not only in the challenge, not for the punishment, but just the people in general.
Yeah, it's gonna get a little bit fucking weird. So everyone, make sure you subscribe right here and check out in the other playlist. We're gonna call this one a Hangover, and we're gonna have some fun here. So until next time, cheers.